Let's talk about Deadzone Rogue. The game feels like the next big co-op first-person shooter. Think on the lines of Destiny or Warframe, just not as polished, that has been mashed together with a challenging game like Returnal, all wrapped together with a very linear, roguelike twist. There's an intriguing story, surprising build variety, and the kind of replay value that lets you choose between punishing difficulty with a more laid-back experience. Right now, it's stuck in this weird space between overwhelming potential and poor execution. Everything is here to create one of the most potent games in the co-op FPS genre, but it's not hitting as hard as it should. Even if you do chalk it up to being early access, I don't really think that's a good excuse. That's because this isn't Prophecy Games' first rodeo, with their abandoned game Tribes 3 Rivals, which is still in early access. What makes Deadzone great is its ability to craft engaging gameplay, deep builds, and tough encounters. But Prophecy Games also has a history of ignoring player feedback, whether that's fixing what's broken or adding in what's missing and never delivering. So while I do see the potential here, it's hard not to bite my tongue and say that I don't trust this is going to work out. One of the major issues that sparked a lot of backlash from the community was the lack of an offline mode. The game was initially released as a live service title, meaning that you had to be constantly connected to the service to play. The developers have acknowledged this though, and stated that they are working on making an offline mode their top priority. The biggest issue that I see is the lack of replay value for each level design. Each mission or area is set to a fixed location, with only a few small tweaks like box placements or enemy spawns. The problem is, difficulty doesn't just mean more enemies or more elites, it also means that they will do 300% more damage, which is enough to one-shot everybody at full health. The layouts stay mostly the same unless you choose a different mission, so you're stuck deciding whether you want to grind through all of those deaths for the sake of unlocking flashy, high-damage builds, or just stick with hard mode and cruise along. It's really not a bad system, but the jump-in challenge does feel artificial. Instead of testing your strategy as you sweep through the arena to figure out what to do, it feels like it's really testing your patience. After 20 hours grinding Zone 2 Expert Mode trying to push through the tougher content, I found myself running into the same identical rooms, fighting the exact same enemies, and dying in the exact same ways. The pure consistency of this imbalance and the repetitive structure killed a lot of the momentum. There's a clear need for more variety in layouts and a serious rework of enemy balance at that level. Then you have the bugs.
Every single time you get to a point where you're really doing good, the game just bugs out and won't let you progress anymore. We've tried this stage for 20 hours. Every single time we get to either stage 13, stage 15, stage 16, stage 19, stage 18 of Zone 2. Doesn't matter if it's Expert, doesn't matter if it's Nightmare. It's gonna happen.
Doors randomly refuse to open, breaking runs completely, and the enemy designs a nightmare, but not in a good way. Let's talk about the Void Spiders, Axe Bots, and Exploding Mines. These enemy types dominate the game's higher level difficulties to the point of absurdity. I get that challenging content should feel tough, but there's a line between challenge and insane enemy creep. Why are Void Spiders tiny, nearly silent, have a vacuum AoE that pulls you in and lock you down to one-shot you, while being extremely tanky unless you are playing a weak point build? They force you to play perfectly or die instantly, and just when you think you've got distance, a Deadeye or a Sniper or another Axe Bot comes out of nowhere and ends your run. It's not difficulty, it's unjust punishment that requires specific builds to actually go through. Expert mode in Zone 2 doesn't play fair unless you are fully prepared to coordinate through voice comms with your friends.
Wait, what main weapon do you have? Can you pick up this weapon?
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, sorry, hang on. So, I need that weapon, but I need it to be upgraded.
Yeah, I can do that easy.
Sure. So yeah, I just need lightning bolt, that's all. If it doesn't get it, it doesn't get it. Lightning bolt.
Doesn't get it.
Damn.
Doesn't get it. Are you okay with burst fire with lightning potentially if I get it here?
No, I need...
Lightning bolt.
The enemies scale extremely fast, specifically with the tight corner maps like stages 13, 15, 17, and 19 that force you to play a specific type of build. The problem is you are never guaranteed to get the same build every single run, so you either adapt your loadouts to compensate for the terrain and enemy density, or you will get overwhelmed and one-shot. Solo runs become a dice roll unless your build is nearly perfect and your movement is on point. Specifically with a build like the Ghostblade, making you come in and out of stealth to instantly one-shot everything, since some enemies have shields that make them immune to range damage. There's also a current bug with Void Tendrils bugging out room completion. Some enemy types like Void Spiders and Mines demand a dedicated player to manage Fabricators or you will be overwhelmed by them. The difficulty spike is not gradual. It slams into you even if you do have a plan. Even if you do manage to have the perfect build, if you're playing alone, you're thrown into tight, claustrophobic rooms where nowhere is safe. So the second that you come out of stealth, you're immediately overwhelmed, unless you manage to get the perfect spawn. And even if you do pass that hurdle, either alone or with friends, there is no guarantee that room 15, 17, or 19 won't bug out and seal you out of progressing any further.
And there's fuck all that you can do about it.
And more often than not, you're going to be paired with new players who have just gotten the game, who have no upgrades, no HP, and no shields. This means that they become dead weight, as they can access the higher level difficulties if you have hosted the server. It turns every run into a gamble, because the game is clearly built to be played with friends over voice chat, where you can coordinate your builds and also your roles. Perhaps somebody is going for a full uptime freeze on a boss, while others go pure damage, which is completely broken, in a good way, but pulling that off is extremely rare. The odds of getting any one specific upgrade, or weapon, or build is about 2.4%. So building for the synergy that you get feels more like luck and knowledge more so than raw skill. Though if you are playing any of the game modes below expert, you shouldn't have to worry about this.
Oh hell, this can't be good.
As I mentioned before, the developers know how to make a really great game that's genuinely fun to play, though they do have a track record of making bad choices. Even with the static layout and repetitive zones, there's still something engaging about the core gameplay loop. It keeps you coming back for more. Not because the structure changes, but because the moment-to-moment combat is solid enough to compel you to do so. Whether you're playing a secondary build, primary build, or even a melee build, there's just so many things to work with. The problem is, once you've unlocked everything, the drive to keep playing fades a little. Outside of running with friends or completely random strangers, there's not much long-term motivation. It feels like a missed opportunity since the full game isn't released yet, so you're bound to burn out. Some kind of post-progression system would be nice. Maybe a way to dump your excess credits or materials into future runs for small stat boosts, weapon drop chances, or anything on those lines. Sitting on thousands of credits and hundreds of materials after fully unlocking the tree feels like a waste, though it is an opinion to chew on. The sound effects, the visuals, the story, and atmosphere are all crafted perfectly.
Oh God, is that me? Where the hell is my face?
Everything feels impactful and intriguing, like the unique premise of being a brain inside of an exoskeleton that has also had their memory wiped and who is revived every single time that he dies. Every weapon has this satisfying feedback. Every shot, every hit, and every ability that lands with weight. It's just really hard to explain, but there's a depth to the experience that makes the game both visually and auditorily satisfying. It's really something that you do have to experience for yourself before it fully clicks. While the visuals may be repetitive due to the way that each zone is divided with different enemies and rooms, it never does truly lose its charm. This is one of the first games I've played that's using Unreal Engine 5 that actually gets it right. It's stable and runs smoothly without any choppy frames or crashes, and it avoids the usual instability issues that comes with its slightly volatile state. And of course, it looks fantastic with its sharp visuals and fluid animations. Every single build offers a unique playstyle and no two runs will ever be alike. Even when you do try to force something specific, the sheer variety of over 41 perks, a dozen weapons, and a wide range of elemental powers and modifiers ensures that you won't find this kind of diversity in most other co-op first-person shooters. The only other FPS roguelike that comes to mind with a colorful and inviting style is Gunfire Reborn, a game that's already great and a solid example of what this game could eventually become. Each run starts the same. You revive armed with nothing but a pistol. You can interact with various elements around the spaceship, upgrade your skills and perks, and then choose your zone or mission based on your desired difficulty. After that, you can head back down to attempt your run once more, either alone or with a group of 3. Each room that you clear rewards you with random weapon drops and gears that help protect you. This is not a loot and shooter, meaning that you will not be able to take these items back with you, as every single time that you die, you are stripped of all of your gear. The exact same thing happens when you complete a run. Combining specific effects with the perks and augmentations that you acquire as you attempt to leave opens up a wide range of playstyles. However, some combinations and weapons feel a bit unbalanced and also useless. If you find yourself lucky enough to obtain builds that offer 100% uptime on something like Lightning Bolt or Infinite Ammo with triple element stacking. While the options are limitless, there's a lot of potential that feels broken. No matter how much fun you craft for yourself, the enemies at higher level difficulties always seem to find a way to ruin your runs. The higher the zone, the more absurd these enemies and their powers become, keeping you on your toes consistently. Enemies consistently patrol rooms and are oftentimes very difficult to actually hit, be that because they're super small, or because they're constantly rolling around. It does feel like if you don't one-shot them, then there's no point in playing the higher difficulties. That really just leaves the final question: do I recommend this game? That's really up to you. If you're looking for something casual, then Adventure Mode or Normal Mode can offer a solid few hours of fun. But if you are planning to tackle Nightmare or Expert Mode, prepare for long, punishing runs that last 40 minutes or more per attempt, and dozens of retries before you land a successful build. But that does not mean a successful run. You're either going to get a fantasy build, or you're going to be struggling for survival, with very little in between. Now, I do have 21 copies of this game to give away, courtesy of the developers, and you can find the details for that in the video description below. Personally, I do really like this game, because it's got a limitless amount of untapped potential. Whether the developers act on community feedback, or just push a few updates and then move on, remains to be seen. As it currently stands, if you're craving for some challenging gameplay that can last about 20 hours, and you would like to play this game with your friends, it's a perfect experience. Though I do suggest waiting to see where they take this game in the following months before investing yourself in the grind.